I promised you some stories. I promised you some stories. There have been some crazy shiz that has happened at my salon over the last 18 years. And it's no it's no accident that like I try to block some out, right? And it when it comes to hiring and firing, which I like the process because it feels like you have more control than you do. Because when you're hiring, you're like, yes, there's so much possibility. And when you're firing people, you do have control, right? You absolutely do have control. But it's also like one of those things that it just doesn't ever really feel good. But I like to address it and say, you know what? This is something that actually it does feel good because it's giving me control in my business. It's allowing me this sense of I can I'm doing something for my business and I'm protecting my peace. And so when it come up to anything in business, and we already talked about core values, I know we're going to talk about them again over this 100 days situation. And in all of my coaching, it's something that I speak to all the time. And so I started with this. If you haven't watched the first video, you need to go watch that. But when it comes to hiring, firing, you've got to have SOPs in place so that you can protect your peace throughout the process. And it's not nerve-wracking for you. You're not like, I'm going to throw up Lexi, like, oh, whatever. Like last summer, we were on vacation on this really bougie vacation, by the way. I loved it. And I'm like, this needs to become an annual tradition. This summer I had a baby, so we didn't go. But we will. We're going. But we were on this really like great bougie vacation. Our daughter had just turned 1 and I was like, this is so great. And I was having like this, like kind of a pinch me moment. You know, I was having like a pretty good pinch me moment and like, it's all working. Like I've had this beautiful baby. We're on this like great vacation and like life is good. Business is good. One of those things. And then I get a phone call and I'm like, this is not how it's supposed to be. Now I have been on vacation so many other times over the last 18 years, my entire adult life, let me tell you, where the shiz hit the fan bad. It hit the fan, it hit the fan, it hit the fan, it hit the fan. And it was hitting the fan before I left and after I came home. And but like vacation was never relaxing, or it might have been relaxing. Like the salon was fine, business was fine. But what wasn't fine was me. Right. And I'm going to get back to hiring and firing in just a second. I just want to share this with you because I think so many of us can relate to it. You work so hard to go on vacation that when you get on vacation, your body is like, oh, finally, and your nervous system like relaxes and then all the bugs come out and you get freaking sick. You get sick because you've been like up here at level 10, like you've operating at this like crazy high level and it's just not sustainable. Like your body physically can't do it. Like you might be able to like live at a stress level of 11 or 12 or 15 or 100, right? Because like we do that. And you might be really high strung, like because you operated like that for so long that you're just like go until I actually die. And that's not healthy, right? So I've been on vacations like that. This was not that vacation. This vacation, I'm like, I've got this under control. Like I've somehow managed to like be a mother and keep my business alive and this child alive. And like, I'm still alive and my husband still likes me. And like, wow, like I'm killing it, right? Like I'm crushing it is what it feels like. We should like not say killing it about things. We should say like could we be more gentle and like, I don't know, whatever, but we'll figure that out another day. But I hate to say that. But anyways, I felt like I was crushing it. And then I get this call and I'm like, this person just has to get fired, right? Like they have to get fired. And they have to get fired because at this point I'm like, I'm not fighting for them to stay. Like they're doing nothing but irking me and like causing harm to the business, in fact. And so I'm like, they gotta go. And so I make the call, deal with my salon manager a little bit. I say to Josh, I'm like, hey, I need 20 minutes. So you guys just like go feed the ducks or go walk on the beach or do whatever you're going to do. I need 20 minutes. I'll be back with you guys momentarily. So I go in to the room. They go do their thing. My husband's name is Josh. And in that 20 minutes, I send over the termination letter. I do the stuff on ADP, which is who I use for payroll. We do all the things. My manager handles it. I send one text message and have one short phone call, and she was fired. And then I walked my happy little self down to meet Josh and Millie, and I think they were just outside, like looking at birds and doing stuff with a 1-year-old, right? Like, how exciting is that? Very. And then got back to life, and it didn't interrupt my vacation. Now, the reason that it didn't interrupt my vacation is because I am self-led in leadership. I know my self-leadership is strong. That's a system we'll have to talk about in another video. But I'm really good at separating the emotions from my business. I was frustrated with myself, but I wasn't going to allow that to infiltrate my vacation. And the reason it didn't is because I have SOPs, standard operating procedures, around hiring and around firing. And so when I hired this person, I followed my SOP, right? There's only a couple reasons why don't work out. There really is. And most of them are our fault as a leader and as a manager. And that really, that's really bad news for us. But when you have these SOPs in place, here's where things went south for me. So there's only a couple reasons why somebody isn't a good fit, and it's either they weren't trained properly. This person was trained properly, so we can say it wasn't that. But if they're not trained properly, I'm looking at you because you're in charge of training people. And if they're not trained properly, it's probably because you don't have an SOP. And then secondly, it's because they're really not the right person for the job, which means I didn't hire well. So then it's my job to fire quickly, get rid of them, because I'm not going to fight for her, so she gotta go. So it basically, that's it, right? They're either not trained properly or they literally aren't a good fit. And both of those are your fault. And maybe they are the right person and they were trained properly, but they just don't give a rip. That kind of means they're not the right person for the job too. So you can have done everything right. They were doing well, but their life or something comes up. That's not you don't own that. But that they still have to go, right? Okay, so we have an SOP for hiring and training and all that. That's a conversation for a different day. But when it comes to firing and the way that I was able to just be chill about this, and I mean, I need to tell you the story of this, but okay, I will after I tell you about the SOP. Basically, you just have to have a protocol on how you fire people. So we have a systematic list. When somebody needs to go, this is what we do. We handle it, we move on, and we don't think about them again. My ultimate mantra is, will I care about this a year from now? If the answer is no, I don't think about it a whole lot right now. I go back to my SOP that I created when I was in a place of peace, so that I can stand on that person, on that foundation, right? And use that person's brain with uninterrupted, no emotional drag on it in order to say adios, it's been so great to know you, and I love you, and wish you well, and bless and release, and don't let the door hit you, and all of that kind of stuff. Because it's there's no emotion in it. Because I'm just oh yeah, I'm just doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. SOPs give you a boss. It's so great. And if you're lucky enough to have a salon manager, or if you're working on it, right? If you're looking to add that to get to your 7-figure, salon owner energy and or profits, you'll get there. But in the meantime, if you don't, these become your boss. But when you have SOPs with a team, it's just fantastic because then everybody's on the same page. Everybody's on the same page and you don't have to freaking think about it. And so you're on vacation, you go back to, now you can walk on down to the beach, have a cocktail, and I think Josh was oh, what's up? And I'm oh, no big deal, I just had to let so-and-so go. And he's oh, okay, was everything okay? I'm yeah, it's fine, whatever. Here's what wasn't fine, here's your story. Quick story. I'm a lengthy storyteller because I like to gab. I'm a hairdresser at heart, okay? So she was a receptionist. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Even, honestly, terminating or firing stylists, using SOPs also makes it not a big deal. Your human might hurt a little bit because you might have a relationship as a human, but your business and you've got it, that's where we have to self-lead. Okay, she was a receptionist. She literally, started drama and made up drama. In my salon, we don't do drama. We don't do drama, I promise you. I've packed people's stuff up and threw it outside. I'm not sure that's legal, but I did it a long time ago. That person's long gone, and you know what? Come at me, bro. But they probably still owe me money, frankly. So, hi if you're watching. Anyways, she was a receptionist. She started drama with 2 stylists about getting her own haircut
and not wanting to pay for it. So you're like, okay, well, Lexi, like, obviously that's a no-brainer. No, because that, like, we could have had a conversation. She was kind of young, like, maybe she didn't understand. Like, that doesn't really have anything to do with her job. The drama does, because you can't, no. But the real kicker for me is that she wasn't really doing her job that well. That's why I fired her. Had we had a conversation about the drama that was nail in the coffin for me to fire her? Yes. But if she had been doing her job really well, I would have said, hey, you know what, receptionist, we need to have a conversation, because in order to be here, we have to be a grown-up. And she was old enough to be a grown-up, let's be real. But we have to follow these certain things. Remember, we talked about that in our training. These are our core values. We reflect both of those things in these hard conversations, et cetera, et cetera. And I would have said, can you do that? And if she said yes, then I would have given her one more shot. But we didn't need to do all that, because once I got the complaint that the laundry wasn't done and the trash wasn't taken out all on just one shift, and I had seen it, I thought, on another shift, but I wasn't for sure it was her. Like, I need to have facts and data to make decisions. That's how I operate, because then there's no emotion in it. So once I got that, for sure, the text message that the salon was left a disaster and da-da-da-da-da-da, I'm like, oh yeah, no second chances on that stuff, because you've been trained properly. You're just not the right person for the job. And then we had this other underlying factor about the drama and the haircut situation, which was actually so freaking stupid. But I don't have time for that either. And the reason I don't have time for that, and the reason that I'm able to move so quickly on those things and know that I don't have time for that, is because I'm not a people pleaser, and I have core values to back me up.